Kris Boyd is the most bitter man in football. He offers no insightful punditry, preferring to take cheap digs at Celtic. In today's video, we will go over what he has said, as something Brendan Rodgers has done clearly has rattled him. Not only that, we will also go over all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours.
But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.
Brendan Rodgers dropped a little hint last week that Celtic had been away for a team bonding night, sliding it into conversation when asked about the fuss around Russell Martin's Loch Lomond trip with Rangers. At the time, he kept the details vague, only saying players, partners and families were involved. Now the picture's clearer thanks to a Facebook post from AB Magic, the magician hired to entertain the Celtic squad. Sharing photos with Rodgers and the players, AB Magic called it a special performance and a career highlight, thanking the club for having him. In the images, he's suited up with a deck of cards in hand, standing in front of a big screen reading, "Welcome Celtic FC." Rodgers made sure the mood stayed positive, and the group stayed close alongside their families with entertainment and a meal. With such a relentless schedule, he's always believed in giving players time to switch off together, enjoy themselves, and build bonds that carry into big match days. Including partners and families adds even more value, a nod to the fact that life in Glasgow's football bubble affects more than just the players. While Rangers plunged into freezing Loch Lomond, Celtic's version looked more like an evening of laughter, magic, and connection. A magician at a football team's bonding night isn't exactly the norm, but it's the kind of light-hearted touch that brings people closer. There's no single way to build spirit in a squad. Managers do it differently. Martin's cold water dip turned into a punchline, while Celtic's night of card tricks might have drawn their own critics had the press got a glimpse of Anthony Ralston being sawn in half. Now the only question left is whether fans can talk AB Magic into making the current Celtic board disappear. Now for the main story, as Kris Boyd is a pundit who is seriously disliked by the vast majority of Celtic supporters. The former Rangers man appears to be more into taking digs at Celtic than offering any real, meaningful and insightful punditry about performances or tactics. Boyd is often dismissive and petulant when he talks about Celtic and Rangers, and now the Sky Sportsman has decided to take a bizarre pop at Brendan Rodgers. And when Rodgers defended Rangers boss Russell Martin from his media critics, that seems to have weirdly annoyed Boyd. Kris Boyd lobs more faces than Big Ben insult towards Celtic boss Rodgers. Now, let's not forget that Rodgers was asked by a member of the press room about the criticism Russell Martin has been getting at Rangers. The Celtic boss didn't all of a sudden just volunteer the information. So that makes what Boyd says here even more bizarre. Boyd told Go Ballistic, "You say about having more faces than Big Ben, that's exactly what Brendan Rodgers done on Friday in his presser. Nobody came out the weekend talking about the Celtic board. He didn't have to answer any questions regarding that. He just flipped the whole thing around. Everybody's going to say that Brendan Rodgers was having a go at the old Rangers managerial team, which he was. But it was a stroke of genius from Brendan Rodgers in terms of, I'm shifting this away from Celtic altogether. I'm going to turn it, and then everybody's going to start speaking about what I'm talking about. What Celtic's Brendan Rodgers actually said about Russell Martin. So what exactly was it that Rodgers said that appears to have annoyed Boyd so much?" Speaking at his Celtic press conference last week, Rodgers said, "I'm always aware and I look to see what other managers will be saying, or people who have been in that position, who should know better. Some will say, well, I've got to..." But you've walked in the shoes. Unless you've been in the shoes of a manager or a coach, do you really understand what that person's going through? And if you have been in that position, then you should respect it more. You know how tough it is. You know how challenging it is. You know certain things you can't change, that you can't bring out into the open. So for me, I've always found that interesting when managers that are currently in a job, they're taking a bit of stick from people who weren't that long ago in the job and found it challenging. Most people say that Rodgers was having a pop at Barry Ferguson, but for us, it looked like Neil McCann and Billy Dodds were the focus of the Celtic manager's ire after they appeared to criticise Martin on the BBC. For Boyd to criticise Rodgers with this train of thought just shows how narrow-minded he is whenever it comes to offering any kind of opinion that involves Celtic. In other news, Celtic's relationship with its supporters remains fraught after a coalition of fan organisations confirmed they have declined the club's invitation to a meeting over policing concerns at the March Glasgow derby. The affiliation of registered Celtic supporters clubs, Association of Irish Celtic Supporters Clubs, Boys Celtic, Celtic Disabled Supporters Association, Celtic Supporters Association, and the Green Brigade were all invited to attend a briefing on the findings of an independent investigation carried out by Fairhurst, a UK-wide safety consultancy. The club commissioned Fairhurst earlier this year following complaints about policing at the derby on the 16th of March. Officers were granted special powers on the day to stop fans under reasonable suspicion of committing a crime, with 90 supporters denied entry after refusing to be searched. While Celtic have confirmed the report is ready to be shared, supporters groups have unanimously agreed not to engage until the board addresses wider issues raised in their open letter earlier this summer. Acting in conjunction with the Celtic Fans Collective, the organisation stated that they have no confidence in meeting with the club under the current leadership unless there is a clear commitment to answering all questions raised and engaging with the support in good faith. The refusal is another flashpoint in what has been a tense period between fans and the board, with ongoing protests around governance, recruitment, and communication. Lastly, Celtic winger Jota has broken his social media silence with a rehab update that has lifted spirits among supporters. The Portuguese star, sidelined with a ruptured ACL since April, shared a short Instagram video of himself doing resistance weights underwater. He captioned it in Portuguese, Peixinho na água, which translates to little fish in water. The playful post is his first big update since May and comes at a time when Celtic fans are eager for positive news about his progress. His injury, picked up just after the title-clinching 5-0 win over Dundee United, has been a cruel twist in what should have been a celebratory moment. Scans confirmed the worst back in April, a serious ACL rupture in his right knee. Initial estimates suggested a 6 to 9 month layoff, but Brendan Rodgers has since warned that the recovery will stretch beyond that. The Celtic manager has stressed there is no rushing this one. With the severity of Jota's injury, any setback could be disastrous. The latest from Lennoxtown is that the winger is unlikely to return to competitive action until early 2026. Jota has been dividing his rehab between Portugal and Glasgow, supported by family and Celtic's medical team. Progress has been steady. Back in August, Rodgers confirmed that Jota had reached the stage of fully straightening his knee, a crucial early milestone. From there, the focus has shifted to rebuilding strength, movement, and confidence. For supporters, the Instagram clip offers a glimpse into that process. Underwater training reduces stress on the joints while still allowing muscle work, exactly the type of careful conditioning needed to avoid complications with an ACL comeback. There is no denying the gap his absence has left. Celtic have been forced to reshuffle out wide, and while Rodgers has attacking options, none bring Jota's mix of pace, flair, and finishing. Tunekti has offered real hope for supporters who like Jota's style, taking on defenders and offering a lot of attacking threat. Jota looks upbeat, working hard, and clearly determined to come back strong. The little fish is back in the water, and every Hoops supporter will be hoping he is swimming toward a 2026 return in green and white.
What do you think of what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comments section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.